Next in line is we have your Diphyllidium caninum, also known as the dog or cat tapeworm. Diphyllidium caninum egg is unique from the other egg because of its oncosphere, an egg that contains a egg, because there is what we call egg packets. It is the egg of Diphyllidium caninum is enclosed with what we call packets. Okay, and these packets may contain 5 to 30 eggs. Okay, and there is what we call 6-hook oncosphere on the egg of Diphyllidium caninum. In terms of its body, or in terms of its proglottids, no? Pumpkin seed ang tsura ng Diphyllidium caninum. That's why it is also referred nga pala as the pumpkin seed cestode or the pumpkin seed tapeworm. Aside from being referred to be the dog or cat tapeworm, okay, it is also referred as the pumpkin seed. Okay? For this codex, no, there is a club shape. Yan, isa pang palatandaan dyan. Club shaped codex, Diphyllidium caninum. Okay? With 1 to 7 circlets of the spine in the rostrum. Club shape, rostrum is Diphyllidium caninum. Sometimes, ang tawag dito ay clubhouse shape rostrum. That is your Diphyllidium caninum. And of course, demonstration of the egg in the stool is the laboratory diagnosis. In terms of the life cycle, yan. Mahalagang tandaan that this parasite is a parasite of dog, a parasite of cat. At ano po nagkakaroon ng infection ang human? Ingestion of the fleas. Kaya yung mga mahilig sa aso, mahilig sa pusa, make sure that your dog and your cat does not have fleas, a vector that transmit the parasite. Okay? For dog, we have your Cetenophalides canis as the flea of dog or dog flea. For cat is we have your Cetenophalides felis, and for human flea is the Pulex irritans. Naka-poker face ka sa akin habang sinasabi ko yung Cetenophalides canis at saka Cetenophalides felis at saka yung Pulex irritans. Huwag ka mag-make face. Ito na. Susulat ko naman eh. Okay? Feel ka lang dyan. Okay? So, how the life cycle goes, there is an ingestion, accidental ingestion of infected fleas. Okay, this fleas contains the cystosarcoid larvae of the Diphyllidium caninum. And then, the man will ingest it. Pwedeng habang natutulog ka, lumipad yung flea ng aso mo, di congratulations. Okay, and then will mature into your intestine to become to have an scolex, and this scolex will attach the mucosa to produce proglottids in the small intestine. All right, and then each gravid proglottids contains the egg. No? It can be passed through the stool. Okay, gravid proglottids are passed intact and feces to emerge to or from perineal region of the either human or host. Okay, pwedeng nanggaling kay natural host, pwedeng nanggaling kay accidental host. Therefore, no, magkakameron tayo ng proglottids that contains the egg pockets of the Diphyllidium caninum. It will be developed into oncosphere to become your cysticercoid larva. Okay, that will be consumed by the larvae or by the fleas, which will harbor the infective stage of the parasite, the cysticercoid, no, which will be consumed accidentally by human, and the life cycle repeats itself. So, a patient with this type of infection will develop uh, loss of appetite, diarrhea, abdominal discomfort, indigestion, and anal pruritus, almost similar to correct enterobius vermicularis. Treatment of choice is praziquantel, and we can also use paramycin or nicotinamide. Well, of course, prevention and control is to make sure that the pets, such as dogs and cats, are uh, free from fleas. Wala pong mga worm, nagkakaroon ka ng deworming, and then you protect yourself from the fleas of your dog and your cat. Next in line is you have your Diphyllobothrium latum. This is again a pseudophilidian. There is a operculum, like what I'm telling a while ago. This is the operculum. This is the coracidium, which contains the larval stage of the parasite. And then the operculum is the terminal lobe, the opposite to the operculum. Usually, parasites with operculum and oviporculum are trematodes. Usually, sila yung mga trematodes, yung may mga operculum or operculated. But Diphyllobothrium latum is a cestode with operculum. And this is the only parasite that requires two intermediate hosts, right? The copepods and the freshwater fish. So if you are going to take a look with this slide or this picture, this is the operculum and this is the aboperculum, or the knob-like structure opposite to operculum, which is a lid-like structure. This is typically 55 to 75 micrometers long to 40 to 55 micrometers wide. Somehow oblong, no? And there is what we call coracidium in the egg that connotes, the larval form of the parasite. Okay, the shell, of the parasite is smooth yellow-brown in color, and the other features nga is the presence of your operculum and your aboperculum. As like what I've said a while ago, Diphyllobothrium latum is an example of a pseudophilidian, and as we all know, pseudophilidian parasites, sila po yung mayroong mga spoon-like structure na head with a slit-like with two suckers, and this is your Diphyllobothrium latum scolex. Parang tahong, yeah, gano'n na. Okay? Parang tahong yung itsura ng scolex ni Diphyllobothrium latum, again, because of its characteristics of being a pseudophilidian na meron siyang spoon-like structure. Now take note that this is the sucker, the two suckers of the Diphyllobothrium latum. At ang tawag po natin sa sucker na yan, with Diphyllobothrium latum is bothrium. Okay? Bothrium is the sucker of Diphyllobothrium latum. Okay? So the proglottid contains the uterine or the rosette-shaped uterine structure that contains the egg of the parasite. In terms of the laboratory diagnosis, again, the sample of choice is the stool. The presence of proglottids and scoliosis in untreated patient is rare. Better seen in treated patient. Passage of scolex without proglottids indicates successful treatment. Now, for the life cycle, like what I've said, it requires two intermediate hosts. One is the crustaceans, such as the copepods, and the other one is the fresh water fish. Therefore, the mode of transmission of this parasite is ingestion of contaminated or raw or undercooked fish, which contains the plerecercoid. Hindi na po cysticercus. Kasi yung mga cysticercus natin, that is only for your cyclophilidium. And this is pseudophilidium. So, therefore, we have your plerecercoid larvae in the fish. Okay. According to CDC, Diphyllobothrium latum can also be called as the Diphyllobothrium tapeworms. So again, the ingestion of this food that contains the parasauricoid initiates the infection to human. Okay? Seal, birds, and dogs may sometimes be the definitive host of the parasite. Okay? Once the human ingests the Diphyllobothrium latum, no, it will reside in the small intestine where the scolex will attach again, no, into the intestinal wall that can lead into malabsorption that is possibly cause or that could possibly cause anemia, megaloblastic anemia, vitamin B12 deficiency anemia. Okay, so once that the parasite initiates infection to humans, so magkaka-experience siya nung mga weakness, weight loss, abdominal pain, and of course, like what I've said, malabsorption that can lead into vitamin B12 deficiency anemia or the megaloblastic anemia. The parasite, since this is a hermaphrodite, capable of producing the egg even wala siyang sex partner, no, will develop the egg and it will be passed through the humans. Okay? Now, therefore, in places or in areas wherein there is a poor sanitation, wherein human defecate in a body of water, now the egg will emerge in the body of water. Thus, therefore, the crustaceans, now which considered as the first intermediate host, will consume the egg in the sea, in the body of water. And then the presorcoid larvae develops into the body of the crustaceans. These crustaceans will be digested by the second intermediate host, which is usually fish. Right? Which is usually fish, no? And the presorcoid larvae released from the crustacean develops into the plerosorcoid larvae, which is considered as the infective stage. Take note, the pleiocercoid larvae or larva is considered as the infective stage of the parasite. Predator fish, no, or such as the bigger fish or uh, yeah, the bigger fish will consume, no, the smaller fish which contains the perisauricoid. That this parasite naman or that this fish can be consumed or the smaller fish can be consumed by the human. Okay, so this is the infection or the symptoms. The infection is uh, Diphyllobothriasis, which includes the following manifestations. Again, the treatment of choice is your consequential. Next in line is we have your Echinococcus granulosus. Again, this is an example of an extraintestinal parasite that can lead into a severe type of infection. That is your hydatid cyst. No? Take note, guys, that Echinococcus granulosus is formerly known as Taenia granulosus. Again, Echinococcus granulosus is formerly known as Taenia granulosus. Thus, therefore, the egg of Taenia solium, or the egg of Taenia solium, yes, and the egg of Taenia salinata, some is indistinguishable to the egg of Echinococcus granulosus. Okay? It is often to see the egg, but commonly the cyst caused by the Echinococcus granulosus. Okay, so there are definition, no, for the hydatid cyst terminology. So we have the hydatid sand, which is a component found in the fluid of older Echinococcus granulosus. We have the daughter cyst, which is a miniature hydatid cyst. Okay, and we have the broad capsule, the structure inside the daughter cyst that houses the developing scoliosis of the parasite that is ready to attach to the to the mucosa or to the area no, it will reside. Take note, guys, that Echinococcus granulosus is the shortest tapeworm. Why? Because it has only three parts: the head, the immature proglottids, and the mature proglottids. Okay? Kaya siya tawag na shortest. Smallest cestode, si Hymenolapis nina. Shortest is si Echinococcus granulosus because it has only three parts: the head, the mature, and the immature proglottids. And since this is not intestinal parasite, the common laboratory diagnosis for this one is the demonstration of the hydatid cyst, okay, biopsy, serological results or serological tests will also be helpful, radiography or radiography, yeah, ultrasound and CT scan will be helpful to know if there is the presence of the hydatid cyst. Take note, guys, that dogs serves as the definitive host and sheep is considered as the intermediate host. Okay, remember, dog serves as the definitive host and sheep considered as the intermediate host. Remember, guys, that this one, no, Echinococcus granulosus, is considered as the dog tapeworm. Ano nangyayari yun? Na napupunta kay sheep. Napupunta kay sheep. Si dog nag-stool, no? Si dog nag-stool doon sa area where sheep is getting its source of food. That's why yung mga uh, mga nag-aalaga ng sheep, sila yung common na mayroong Echinococcus granulosus. Okay? So again, the definitive host is dog. No, it will defecate, right? It will defecate. Then, in the area where sheep will get its food, therefore, makukuha na yung egg pag na-develop sa kanya yung larval stage. Itong si sheep, pwedeng makain ni man. Okay? But else, ano pa yung pwedeng mangyari? The other thing is the ingestion, no, of the egg. Okay? Ingestion of the egg of Echinococcus granulosus initiates the infection. This is a severe type of cestode parasite because there's an involvement of the brain, liver. Okay? However, no, yung signs and symptoms kasi varies on the location of the parasite. But this parasite can lead into anaphylactic shock, eosinophilia, allergic reactions, and even death. Okay, for the lung involvement, there is a chest pain, coughing, shortness of breath. Liver involvement, jaundice, obstructive jaundice. Okay, what was the other symptoms of parasitic infection related to Echinococcus granulosus may differ kung saan yung organ siya. For the treatment, surgical removal is possible. However, if surgical removal is not possible, then mebendazole or bendazole and praziquantel may be used as the medication. Next in line is we have your Spirometra species. No? Spirometra can be Spirometra mansoni, Spirometra erinaceae, Spirometra ranarum. Okay? Take note, guys, that this is typically a parasites of cats, dogs, and other carnivores. The life cycle of Spirometra is almost similar to the life cycle of our Diphyllobothrium latum. Okay? The eggs are almost similar to Diphyllobothrium latum, meaning to say it is also operculated. Proglottids has a spiral uterus, which is almost synonymous to the proglottids of Diphyllobothrium latum. Okay? So again, the man ingests this parasite through ingestion of fish. Again, since this is a pseudophilidian, it requires two intermediate hosts. One is crustaceans, and the other one is the fish. Okay, take note, guys, that the procercoid larva, okay, will develop, no, to what you call this plerocercoid, which is also considered as the infected stage, almost similar to Bifidobacterium latum. Okay. Next in line is we have your Raillietina garrisoni, which is first developed or reported by Garrison present in the Filipino adult in 1911, okay? And then identified to, I'm sorry, uh, Raillietina madagascarensis is identified or was identified in Filipino adult in 1911, which is identical to Raillietina garrosini. Take note that this parasite is a tapeworm of a rat, typically 60 centimeters in length, no? And there is what we call 4 acetabula, which is a subglobular uh, suckers. And one of the interesting thing about this parasite is the rostrum with two alternating circular rows of 90 to 140 hammer-shaped hooks. Yeah, that is Raillietina garrisoni. Okay, so the life cycle includes, the rat as the natural host. Take note, guys, that these insects serve as the intermediate host of the parasite. Siyempre, hindi naman yung ingestion of rat. Hindi naman tayo kumakain ng tagain, di ba? There are uncommon cestode parasites of humans, such as your number one, Berthielus species, no? Berthielus studeri, no? Found in Africa, India, and Southeast Asia, including the Philippines. We also have your Berthiela burconata, found in South America. This is a parasite of the monkeys, and the cysticercoid stage in mites is considered as the uh, infected stage, and the mode of transmission is ingestion of infected mites. We also have your Diplobronopus grandis, which is related to Diphyllobothrium latum, which is considered as the parasite of whales, and the consumption of anchovy or sardines with plerocercoid larvae is the mode of transmission. We, we also have your Hemolapis microstoma, which is similar to which is considered as the rodent tapeworm, and insects serves as the intermediate host. Mode of transmission, insects containing cysticercoid larvae. It can be uh, cause mixed infection with Hemolapis mina. We also have your Matevorina, okay? Matevotania, I'm sorry, Matevotania species, no? Which resembles Matevania symmetrica, which is the cosmopolitan tapeworm of rodents. And take note, insect serves as the intermediate host. We also have your Cestodes, intestinal parasites of the primates, carnivores, and birds of prey. Okay? Mode of transmission is ingestion of the larvae, which is your Tetrahydridium, that can be found on its uh, intermediate hosts such as reptiles, birds, and small mammals. We also have your Raillietina senebensis, which is considered as a parasite of rats, wherein there is no exact life cycle that can be found in Japan, Taiwan, Philippines, Australia, and French Polynesia. Okay, so take note, guys, that careful examination of the scolex proglottids is essential for proper cestode identification. Okay, uh, most especially in the egg of Tania, wherein it is indistinguishable to one another. Okay, and Diphyllobothrium latum uh, consists of hexagon embryo with 6 hooklets. What else? Classification can be based on the presence and absence of other features, such as polar thickenings in diminuta and polar filaments to Nina. Arrangement of membrane in caninum, no? Yung pockets, 5 to 30 pockets. Scolipses, usually 4, except for almond shape. Isa pang tawag sa kanya, aside from spoon shape, is the almond shaped suckers of Diphyllobothrium latum, and that is what we call bothrium. Okay, what else? The presence and the absence of the rostulum will also be useful. If there's a rostulum, are there hooklets or walang hooklets? Okay, the size, the shape, okay, not the size, but yeah, the shape of the proglottids, the number of uterine branches, and the structure of uterine branches will help us to identify the parasite based on its proglottids. Okay, and take note that the only cestode that can form hydatid cyst is our Echinococcus granulosus. Thank you very much and God bless you. Mabuhay ang medtech ng